apologize for the shakiness of this video. I don't have my tripod in here at this time, so please bear with me. And I injured my hand a little bit today, but the Lord will fix it, as He has and has been fixing all things for me the last while. He's been very good to me. He's been the very definition of my Yahweh Rapha. He has been my healer, my redeemer, my provider. So anyways, this is part 2 of technology versus God. And yet man chooses machine over Jesus.
Like something out of a novel about the end times, a way for the government to track your movements through a digital identity system. But it's not science fiction. It is under consideration right now in the European Union and might even come to the United States. Imagine a state where the government keeps tabs on everywhere you go, everything you say, and everything you buy through a digital identity system. It sounds like communist China. Now the European Union may be headed in that same direction. And what's even worse, the idea is gaining support in the United States, in our own Congress. Dale heard his own story.
Is the European Union on its way to becoming a surveillance society like China?
The European Digital Identity.
This cheery introduction to the EU's upcoming digital identity program tells citizens that it will make their lives easier while keeping them safer online.
Oh, keeping them safer online. This is some of the dumbest stuff I believe I've ever heard tell of in my life. And yet man will buy it. Man will buy it. They will swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Because it doesn't matter what happens. If they say it will make you safe, you'll do it. Things like drink bleach, for example. Or, I don't know. Let's see, what was it people were doing here a while back? That really caused a upset. Oh yes, drinking Kool-Aid. You remember that little incident? The Hellbot people. David Koresh's followers. Ring any bells? I mean, come on, people. When you follow man and not Jesus, this is what happens. Man gets in his own self, and he gets where he wants to be God. And then he gets led astray by demonic entities. Then you go off and you serve this person. And before you know it, this person has you drinking Kool-Aid. That is not just Kool-Aid. So, here we are now. And we've got this technology that you're seeing on the screen. And the devil will try to show you everything that is in your mind that you dreamt up the mark of the beast to be. And he will present it to you. He will set it in front of you. Chips, what have you. And he will do anything he can to keep the true mark hidden from your sight because he wants you to be deceived. And it teaches that in the book of Revelations, that those that receiveth the mark were deceived. That's how they received the mark. It didn't say they were offered the mark. It said it was by sorceries that all men were deceived. And it also said that the false prophet and them had deceived those that had received the mark. It didn't say, now I'm not telling you run out and get these things. Oh no, all this is part of the beast system. Make no mistake about that. Make no mistake about that. But this right here, this is a very big part of it. Yes, it is. Those things, that pharmakia, that is the, see, because the mark of the beast has to be something that cannot be removed. So bear that in mind as we go forward.
The European Digital Identity Wallet will enable us to store and exchange documents and legal information while fully controlling which data we want to share with whom.
ID data sent.
EU President Ursula von der Leyen says digital identities will give citizens control over how their personal data is used and will help stop identity theft. The so-called digital wallet will be an app on a person's phone and will contain only the information a person wants it to include, such as medical or financial information.
Credit rating sent. Income statement sent.
It's already under attack in the European Parliament as something that would be ripe for government abuse. One of its chief critics, European Parliament member Christian Turres, was born in communist Romania.
Oh, look, it's something that's in your right hand. A digital wallet on your phone, which most people carry in their right hand. That's the mark that Satan's got everybody looking for, after all, right? A visible mark that will appear in your hand or your forehead.
And has long been warning of the EU's so-called Chinification.
Clearly, we are witnessing right now the Chinification of Europe. Because we see what is happening in China right now with the social credit score, where the government is money.
Is the mark of Jesus going to be a visible mark? Because he seals us in our forehead with his name and then the name of his holy city, right? So is that mark that Jesus puts on us going to be a visible mark? Think about it, people. If the seal of God isn't visible, neither is the seal of Satan. It's put on you by the actions that you do, the choices you make, the things you believe in, the things you choose to allow to yield your members to. Keep that in mind.
Monitoring and surveilling all the people from the beginning to end. Everything that they do, everything, everywhere where they walk, they control everything and they watch everything. This is the example of a tyranny.
The EU insists the digital identity program will be voluntary. Skeptics are wondering how long before it becomes
You
mandatory.
voluntarily must take this. You voluntarily must take this thing, because if you don't, you voluntarily will not receive your food allotment for the month, or your electricity allotment for the month, or your car usage for the month, or your job for the month, or so you can voluntarily refuse all of that and do as you choose, or you can voluntarily receive this.
Is the European Digital Identity Wallet, but even more important, how voluntary will it remain in the future? Because the European Union always comes up with nice plans to eventually abuse it. to create more control.
The EU's COVID passport was supposed to be temporary. Now,
What was that it said? Passport for that was supposed to be temporary, but it's not.
Brussels wants to extend it until at least June of next year. COVID passports have been used to prevent the unvaccinated from crossing borders, entering grocery stores, using public transit, and even going to their jobs.
Can't buy or
It's
sell or
helped
even go
fuel
to your
violent
job without
demonstrations, the
that.
likes of which Europe hasn't seen for decades.
You can't buy or sell without that. Why? Because you can't go to your job even without that. And if you don't go to your job, how are you going to buy or sell? Because you ain't going to have no money. And they're doing away with the cash part to eliminate that option. And they're going to be able to control the bank accounts digitally. And if you don't do as they say, you're not going to receive your funds. You're not going to have access to your funds. And you're not going to be able to buy or sell. Hope you're paying attention to the screen. If you don't do as they say, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. Because you're not going to have access to your funds. They're changing everything. Should have been listening when I told you to prepare.
Some in Washington are urging Joe Biden to establish digital identities for Americans as a way of fighting identity theft. There's also support in Congress. The so-called Improving Digital Identity Act of 2020 never made it to a vote, but could be revived. Not only are digital IDs coming to Europe, but in Italy, the cities of Rome and Bologna have begun social credit programs that reward citizens for behavior that officials think will fight climate change, like using a bicycle instead of a car. A social credit system could be easily incorporated into a digital identity. Austrian Catholic leader Alexander Chukwuel says that in any European social credit system, Christians will lose because of their...
Christians will lose because they will refuse to do things to the temple of God that man allows or that man is trying to enforce. Now I'm going to go into part 3. Stick around. You'll want to see the rest of this.